Hello survivors and welcome to another Walking Dead Road to Survival video, and in this video we're going to be taking a first look at Mythic Rosita, who is the character award for the upcoming Road to Survival 6th anniversary event. Visually on the right hand side we can see she's definitely Rosita. It was initially a bit hard to tell as she had highlights in her hair unlike any other Rosita that's been in the game, and we did have quite a good brainstorm on my stream about who it could be. But it's definitely Rosita, that is for sure. Other than that, she looks pretty gangster, honestly. Gold pistol, chunky gold necklace. She's got a yellow jacket on, but not much else. Let's just say that she's not wearing much else at all. On the left-hand side, we can see it's a bit more gruesome. However, she is carving a heart. Oh, that's really sweet. And a 6 for the 6th anniversary of RTS into the back of a walker, half a walker, on a pike that's still moving. Pretty gruesome for sure. She is pointing at us as well. Whether we've got to help her out or we're next, I'm not sure. We're going to check out her stats. Let's move on. As a grade 5 limit break 1 character, level 640, she has got 15,361 attack, 13,167 defense, and 15,361 HP. She is a fast character, considered a damage dealer, mythic character of course, and she is going to be another member of the Survivor Allegiance, making her the 6th member, joining Abraham, OG Rosita, Gabriel, Aiko, and Michonne. Of course, you will need 5 of these characters upgraded and ready if you want to run the Survivor's Mythic Trial in the future once it returns. Now, if we move on to the Adrenaline Rush, it is called Break Them Down. It is a 66 AP cost rush, and it reads, attack an enemy for 600% damage, up to 2 other enemies get 40% defense down for 2 turns. This is obviously pretty powerful, very large single hit. We'll get back to that in a second, but the second part is nice. Up to 2 other enemies getting minus 40% defense for 2 turns. It basically means that if you hard nuke a character, which she's going to do, that character isn't going to get that defense down. And it doesn't matter if you take them out in one big hit or if you bring them down to like 3% HP, you generally wouldn't want that going on them anyway. This sort of rush reminds me of, I think it's Shiva in the 6-star era, Michonne in the S-class era, you know, the big hit, 2 controls, you know, very, very powerful hit. Now, the thing about this rush is, and this is something that I've actually learned here, this rush isn't like other rushes. When you see a rush like this, you're thinking you're going to do a solid 600% hit, it's going to hit very hard, that's nice. Kind of like Andrea Rush, but actually the way it works is it's an attack an enemy for 600% damage, not deal 600% damage to a single enemy. They're quite different. This means it can actually crit. So you can crit a 600% damage hit to a single enemy. It can also, obviously, her being a fast character means you can crit that 100% of the time if you have the crit weapon in her hands. Really, really powerful potential here. And obviously a crit's got much more likeliness to take out and hard nuke a character that she focuses. Okay, so here we are on the second turn, and I am going to use my Adrenaline Rush. I'm going to focus the person with lots and lots of HP, just so you can realize how much hard this hits. We're going to do the rush, and it is going to crit for 32,000 damage. That's against someone with lots of HP, pretty good defense. And obviously that was not a good, smart decision because everyone's got their rush. But I just wanted to show you how much it can hit someone and, you know, how hard it can hit someone. That is a massive hit. Absolutely huge. And you can see 2 characters have got defense down now. And it is going to be Elodie up the top. And it is also going to be Aiko down the bottom. My follow-up damage is obviously going to be vastly improved against characters with that defense down. And considering we are in a kind of tanky meta right now, minus 40% defense against these tanks with their 50 to 60k defense, which is going to be in the next couple of weeks because of Limit Break 2 coming out, is going to be very, very nice indeed. Now we'll look at the upgrades on the rush. You can see at grade 2 it goes from 200% to 400%. At grade 4 it goes from minus 20% defense to minus 40% defense. And at Limit Break 1, it gets another 200% bonus and goes from 400% to 600% hit. This is one of the best Limit Break 1's upgrades in the game. So if you do get 3 Rositas, and from what I understand, 3 Rositas should be quite accessible in the anniversary event itself for everybody. with the fourth to make the Limit Break 2 being the more premium element in the event itself. Now, I do know which parts of Rosita's kit has the Limit Break 2 upgrades, and from what I understand, it is not going to be the Rush. It is the signature move and one of her passives, and I'll break that down once we get onto the upgrades of those. So let's move on to it, the signature move, and this is where a lot of power comes into Rosita's kit. Golden Recovery, initial cooldown of turn 1, cooldown of 3 turns, number of uses unlimited, attack an enemy for 150% damage. This character recovers from burn. Now, the initial cooldown of turn 1 is really good, especially because he is a fast character, and obviously if you know with like Tyrese in terms of the AP gain you can get. Now, she has got quite a more expensive rush than Tyrese, but you can have Glenn in your attack team, you can have a couple of other 8% weapons. You'd need 3 8% weapons and 20% weapon on Rosita to get a second turn natural rush, or 1 8% weapon, a Glenn crit, and obviously the AP going to Rosita, and you'd have a second turn natural rush, or a first turn command rush if you do manage to get yourself Rick 2000. Now, this is very powerful, of course. Now, the cooldown is not great here, but we'll get onto the upgrades for Limit Break 2 later on, and I can tell you the cooldown is going to change there. But the attack is reasonable, 150% damage. This can crit itself, and again, if you have got 100% crit weapon, which the rush is going to take advantage of, so will the signature move. This character recovering from burn, I think a lot of people probably see this and go, damn, I wish it was bleeding. And honestly, I'm in the same position where I wish this was bleed, where she's just sort of self-sufficient. She recovers from bleed. She's not going to have any issues with that, but it's going to be burn. Now, there are some defense teams every now and again that pop up with Ty lead that will have a burn, leader skill, and potentially give a massive amount of burnout, and she can cleanse that instantly if it does go on her, which is going to be pretty useful, honestly. But bleed is much more meta right now, but you never know, down the line burn could be more important and that'll become much more useful. But for me, it's mainly just a turn 1 heavier hit than usual. However, on top of the damage that you're going to be doing on the signature move, you are also going to be gaining more AP. So if I did my signature move right here, you can see Rosita's going to get 35 AP from doing this. I have got 2 8% weapons in the team. Glenn has one and Rosita has one. So I could potentially command Rosita right now and try and get a crit with Glenn. And as you can see, I could get a first turn rush if I really wanted to. And you could see the power that that rush had before, where I can potentially one-shot a character. It doesn't matter if I take someone out the first turn or not. I will always gain that AP unless I get controlled in some way, but if you look closely, it's going to be quite hard to control this character's on her signature move, which is actually pretty useful. And she has the high percentage chance of absolutely destroying someone with her rush, be it, naturally turn 3. It really depends on your own setup. But personally, I kind of see Rosita being in one of these speedier teams where she's going to be with either Nova or Tyrese, 2 quite fast rushing characters. If we look at her upgrades on this signature move, however, you can see that she gets 50% damage at grade 3, and at grade 5 she goes from turn 2 starting cooldown to turn 1 starting cooldown. That is a big change. Obviously, you'll need to get 2 gold mythics to make that upgrade possible. But like I said before, if Limit Break 1 is accessible in the anniversary event, then grade 5 definitely is. However, this is where Limit Break 2 upgrade comes in, and this is a bit more of a premium side of things. But I can tell you from what I've been told, again, the cooldown changes from 3 turn cooldown to a 0 turn cooldown. So it will be initial turn 1 and then cooldown of 0. So you'll be able to pop this off turn 1 and turn 2 if you actually wanted to, and that means potentially you would not need an AP on attack weapon with this character. We'll talk more about it when it comes to the weapons side of things, but the damage potential because of that 1-0 is really good, and it's because of the guaranteed 35 AP gain every time she uses her signature move. Now we'll check out Rosita's mythic abilities. These are her passive skills, and of course she is a damage dealer, so she gets agility. This is broken up into 2 upgrades, 2 times 10%, but it does obviously stack to 20% increase in basic attack damage. This is going to work with her rush, this is going to work with her signature move, basic attacks, everything. The next one is called flashy attacks. Critical damage increased by 20%. Guess what? It's going to work with her rush, it's going to work with her signature move, basic attacks, everything. And obviously if you have the 100% crit weapon, that you're always going to crit. You're always going to get that boost from the damage as well. The next one is called No More Weapons. When performing the disarming specialist skill, this character gets plus 30% attack for 2 turns. Now you might have seen it in the 2 clips before when she was getting the crit hits in. She was getting a 30% attack buff. Well, now you know it's guaranteed as long as she hits a crit. And as you can see, she has got disarm. This is something that is been spoiled here, but you've seen this the whole time. This is very powerful, of course. We'll get into disarm in a second, but the fact that this is a guarantee if she hits the crit, and you can guarantee the crit to a certain extent with the right weapon, really, really nice passive here. The last passive is called Disarming Strikes. When attacking, 20% chance one other enemy gets disarmed for 2 turns. And this works with her rush, this works with her signature move, and this works with her basic attacks. It works with everything. This is really nice. It is only 20%, so 1 in 5 attacks. It isn't amazing, but there is a chance, because she's a disarm, for instance, where she could attack a full tank team, which will have 40% resist to crits, where she doesn't hit the crit, but just because of that passive, just because she attacked, it's only because she's attacking, not because she's critting, that another random tank gets disarmed, and then you can basically go in on that character with the rest of your team. So 1 in 5 non-crits, effectively, you're going to be kind of saved in those situations where it will still disarm someone else, which I don't think is too bad. Okay, so I'm going to show the example of her passives off of turn 1 with her signature move, because why not? We are going to use it on Aiko, and I hit the 30% attack boost on Rosita for hitting a crit, for actually disarming somebody effectively. So the next turn I rush, or the next basic attack I do, will have an enhanced attack. If I have got a Limit Broken 2 character here with a 0 turn signature move, that means turn 2 I will be able to use a signature move with 30% attack boost. Now you can see I also had the 20% proc come in where Maggie is disarmed as a bonus. If this was a full tank team, I could just select Maggie and say, hey, I'm going to follow up. So that's the downside of disarms. If you actually take someone out with the crit that you get, there's no window anymore. But now, here's the window, and you can follow up with the damage, and you're not going to be controlled by anything. Although Maggie here, because of her passives, actually did just remove that disarm. So there are some counters. This is a game of counters. That's how it works. But that's how Rosita's passives work. You just need to be very aware of how the enemy team's passives work to make sure it works for you. Now we'll look at the upgrades on Rosita's passives, and you can see at grade 1 she gets flashy attacks, critical damage increased by 20%. Agility is at grade 2, that's the first 10% of agility. At grade 3 she gets No More Weapons part 1, which is 15% attack for 2 turns as long as she hits the disarm and specialist skill. And then at grade 4 she gets the second half of that, and they obviously stack together to make it 30% attack total. This is guaranteed as long as she hits that disarm, like I said before, and I think it's only going to be the disarm off the specialist skill in the wording there. It won't be the disarm from the next one at grade 5, Disarming Strikes. So if she doesn't hit this disarm from the specialist skill but the Disarming Strikes does hit, I don't think she's going to get an attack bonus there. Lastly, she has got Limit Break 1, which is Agility 2, and that stacks with Agility 1, making it 20% increase in basic attack damage. However, I did say there was a Limit Break 2 upgrade on this character, and it is going to be an increase to her critical multiplier. It's going to stack with the grade 1 upgrade, and it's going to go from 20%, I believe, to 35%. So it's going to be a 15% boost from Limit Break 2. Again, enhancing the crit damage that she's going to do, enhancing, especially if you've got the 100% crit weapon, like I said before, and just guaranteeing more damage when you hit those crits. Now, I've been talking about it already, and you've obviously seen it. She is a disarming specialist, and I'll just read through it because I know a lot of people understand how disarming works to a certain extent. This character will never trigger a special or epic weapon effect that activates when an enemy character is defending. That is the first half of disarm, and a lot of people forget about the fact that the disarms cannot be, cannot trigger 3rd or 4th slots. They cannot trigger any of them. So let's say someone's got a daze on defense weapon, she can actually not be dazed when she hits a crit against that character. It's because she can't trigger 3rd or 4th. However, she cannot disarm the 4th slot. she can disarm the third one, but not the fourth one. So any follow-up damage onto her character can still, trigger that 4 slot. So you've always got to be aware. But she can disarm the third one by hitting a crit. And it says when this character performs a critical attack on a human enemy, that enemy will be disarmed for 2 turns. It does say lastly, disarmed characters lose any slot 3 special effects granted by their weapons. And that's what is the great thing about disarms. They're pretty much the mainstay within attack teams. Very good to have that as one of your 4 specialists in the team. They're one of the best attack team specialists for sure. So Rosita being a disarm is actually really good, especially because she can disarm with her rush, her signature move, and her basic attacks. She can disarm with everything. She's a fast character, can get 100% crit. It's ideal, really. Now, Rosita does not have an attached weapon on her kit. Visually, she does on the left-hand side with her art, but I'll come back to that in a second because I've got a theory on that. On the right-hand side, you can see no weapon attached, and you can definitely make an extremely hard-hitting offensive weapon. You can also give her something a little special, like you can give her maybe some HP if you get her to limit break 2, because you could do attack in the first slot, HP in the second slot. Third slot, you can do the bonus attack based on the character's, the enemy's HP, and then the fourth slot, you could do either 100% crit or 1535, whichever one you wanted to build, whichever one you had the time or whatever to build. And she hit extremely hard. You'd have to limit break 2 to have that, because she would have the 0 turn cooldown. Now, when it comes to the picture of her weapon on the left hand side, obviously there isn't an attached weapon. It looks really cool, which is a shame, but I'm going to call it now, and I know it's early days. This weapon's going to be the first fast weapon in a battle pass. We have never seen a fast weapon in a battle pass, and we've seen some attached weapons on characters in the past visually that they haven't had in their kit, that have been in battle passes, and I think that Rosita's weapon could be it. And if it is, I hope it's offensive, an attacking weapon that actually is, harder to come by, or, off trait slightly, because fast characters do not have any of that. I've talked about this for honestly probably years, that fast characters do not have much to work with, but I hope it's something that specifically can work in Rosita's hands and be very, very powerful as well. So that is Mythic Rosita, guys, and she obviously, I think she is a really good character. She's actually probably one of the best free-to-play characters out there, but not only that, she is also going to enhance a lot of accessible characters, like I talked about before, Ivanova, Tyrese, these characters that kind of need to have their damage enhanced, kind of need to work on that fast attack team. But you know what this team's missing? You know what the team's missing? It's missing a fast attack leader, and it really is required. When I first saw she was fast, I was like, I hope she's an attack leader. We don't have a fast, gold mythic attack leader, but it's not going to be it. I think that's going to be the missing dynamic for an attack team with Rosita and Tyrese / Ivanova / Glenn, or maybe another support character that comes into the game. Definitely need an attack leader going forward. We'll see if that's going to be something coming out, but visually Rosita looks awesome and gruesome at the same time. But do tell me your thoughts on Rosita. What do you think about how she looks visually? What do you think of the art on the left hand side? What do you think about her choice as the anniversary character? And what do you think about her kit? Do you think it is actually any good? Is it a character that you think you could use? Let me know in the comments down below. That is going to be the end of my video. I want to thank you very much for tuning in, and as always, keep on surviving, guys. Keep on surviving.